Thank you, Paul, and thank you again to Reed Corporate. They put on some pretty spectacular events. I've got a lot on the presentation, so I'll go quickly, as I usually do anyways. So hang tight. There's a disclaimer on this. It's on our website. It's on the ASX. So if you want to go back to this, please do it there. What do we do that's different? Well, we go after big targets. We look for big discoveries. We made the Kaylee discovery in 2019. We expected there was a porphyry underneath that. We went for it. A little bit more complicated than it's easy to say, but we weren't as successful. But we do give investors opportunities at big discoveries. And so I've got a discovery in the making that we hope to bring to drill-ready stage by the end of this year. In the interim, we have been working on a couple of gold targets that look very nice to us as well that we will drill in the interim. So the Stavely project, it's basically a continental margin volcanic arc. So Stavely was the eastern edge of Australia 500 million years ago, and so it's very much akin to the Andes in Chile. It's prospective for both copper and for gold. We made that copper discovery in 2019. I'll talk briefly about that, but it is just as prospective for gold and major deposits. So the Kaylee discovery, 2019, initial drill hole was 32 metres at 6% copper and a gram gold from 36 metres depth, I believe. It turned into a 10 million tonne deposit, 1.25% copper, quarter gram gold, bit of silver. There's a bit of cobalt in there, we don't mention much. Other resources, small VMS and a chalcocite blanket all adds up to about 200,000 tonnes of copper, 100,000 ounces of gold, quite a few million ounces of silver and bits and pieces of zinc. Now, that deposit and that discovery wasn't sufficient to stand in its own right as a new development. And so really there are two options in terms of monetizing or realizing the value in that discovery. One is to find more copper ore, and we were doing so at a prospect 2 kilometres to the south called Junction. It's not part of this presentation. We were getting fantastic shallow air core results, 14 metres at 3.2% copper and an ounce silver, and a big string of results. And then when we wanted to get access to drill underneath that, the farmer said no. Now that farmer's transacted. We're just waiting patiently for land access. In the interim, the second way that we can monetize interest and value in this discovery is by pursuing a gold strategy. If we're successful in the gold strategy, putting a sulfide concentrator on the back of a gold plant is child's play. It only costs a few $1,000,000 and it can release value in this thing. So we're currently pursuing the gold strategy. The copper strategy is on hold, and I'll let you know when we get access, and we'll be in there like Flynn to drill that as well, but not part of this presentation. So really, our focus at the moment has been these two, Fairview North and Fairview South. We've just put in some great recent drilling results, one announcement on the 14th of July, another follow-up announcement on the 17th of July for each of those prospects respectively. The big discovery opportunity, the S41 breccia-hosted gold, it's located just here. It's breccia style like Kidston, Mount Lation in Queensland. They're 5 million ounce deposits each, or Kilian in Borneo, that was 8 million ounces. So these are our big targets, as I say. That's what we offer to shareholders. So the gold discovery opportunities, this is a magnetic image, and when you have a magnetic unit that is hit by a hydrothermal fluid that carries gold, it ends up destroying the magnetite, turning it into pyrite, and you get a very distinctive hole in the magnetics. And here we've got two holes in the donut, if you will, of this magnetic andesite here. The Stavely belt comes up through here. It's a volcanic arc, as I mentioned. The Elliott belt here, this belt here, and then this one here are all parts of a deformed volcanic belt akin to the Andes. So Fairview North and Fairview Gold are part of a continuum of deposits. Up here is the Kaylee lode in what we consider a favourable northwest orientation. Junction, as I mentioned, that copper-silver prospect that we're trying to get access back to. Fairview North, we've just drilled again in that favourable northwest orientation we really like. and Fairview South down here with some really nice numbers in drilling recently. 6 kilometres between the two Fairviews. The total length from Kalia Lode down to Fairview South is about 10 kilometres of mineralised strike extent, so there's a lot of smoke in this area. Fairview North, previous explorer was Beaconsfield Gold. They had a mine disaster and went into administration, and we acquired the project from them while they were in administration. We came in here in 2017 to follow up some of their really good results. We drilled the Diamond Hole 11, 30 metres at 1.4, and 4 RC holes. I haven't left any drilling of ours off this list. This is every hole we drilled. Every hole was a winner. That was 2017, and we didn't come back to this prospect because we discovered the Kalia Lode in 2019 and drilled that out for the subsequent 2 years. But our recent drilling results, this announced on the 17th of July, only 2 weeks ago, some really nice intervals, 27 metres at 2.33, including 3 at 10, 4 at 5, within a much broader interval of 59 metres at 1.31. Again, 42 metres at 1.57 with a higher grade zone of 8 metres at almost 5 grams. The song repeats in each of these holes. So why am I pointing to you some of these lower grade intervals? For example, 45 metres at half a gram. Why is that relevant? Well, it's absolutely relevant in this area. They're very shallow intercepts in the first instance, very coherent, broad high-grade zone, low-grade zone with a high grade in the middle, same for this one, same for this one, and same for this one. So they all line up quite nicely. This is the Diamond Hole we drilled in 2017, broad zone, high grade down here. It sits a little bit behind the section, so if you imagine mineralization sort of plunging into the page, they all line up. It's very coherent, very consistent. And so we plan to come back here in the very short term and just drill this section out. And this was area A up here. We haven't touched area B or C yet. So when we come out here drilling, we'll finish drilling A, we'll put our first holes into B and our first holes into C. And now that we've got the orientations figured out from A, we're a high chance of success with B and C as well. But the relevance of the low-grade broad intervals and the shallowness of that mineralization is that in 2017 we had the foresight to do some metallurgical test work. That test work came up with spectacular results, and it's, as mentioned by Saturn, it's not well done or not well commonly done in Australia, but heap leach is a very low cost, low capital, low operating cost method of extracting gold, and it turns out that from these metallurgical test results that this particular material is very amenable to that heap leaching. So we would see Fairview North as an emerging early near-term cash flow opportunity with low capital cost and low operating costs that eventually, if we can get this permitted and put into production, then we can be a self-funded explorer down the track. Fairview South, this prospect located about 6 kilometres further to the south of Fairview North. This has a little bit of a different flavour. I'll go through that with you. As I mentioned, Beaconsfield was the previous explorer. This hole 40 here, 42 metres at 1.14 from surface, was drilled in March in 2006. The Beaconsfield mine disaster was in April 2006. So very little work done post the mine disaster. So they've really left us with that. You can see on the map, this is a gravity map, by the way, gravity low here, typically associated with intrusives. You can see that their march of drill holes was coming further down south. They got to here. Hole 40 is the southernmost one in this bunch. There's two here, like 500 metres away. But they didn't march below a road in here. We've drilled a hole just here to scissor and confirm that hole 40. And just to illustrate the point, this is hole 40, just here, coloured up for high grade, 170 metres to the next drill hole, no drilling, 0. So we've come in and said, okay, well, let's just confirm the location of that drill hole. But the important thing with this prospect is I colour these drill holes to gold grade, right? So pinks and reds and oranges, they're good grades. The cooler colours are less so. But this line next to the drill holes is the lithology, and the green one here is intermediate porphyry. Blue is sediment, that's a convention, and pink here will be felsic porphyry. And it's really interesting in this prospect that all of the gold mineralization is proximal to, as in within the porphyries, or hosted in the sediments adjacent to the porphyry. So you can see here, there's a felsic porphyry, there's the gold grade, and it bleeds into the sediments there. So this intrusive relationship has got scale, because you can get a nice big intrusion that's well mineralized of this particular chemistry. That's Mount Rawdon, 2.5 million ounce producer, and there's no exploration pretty much to the south of these hits. So this is our drill hole we've just announced. We announced this on the 14th of July. Scissoring that hole 40, I've been discussing that Beaconsfield drilled, and 40 metres at 2 grams, 17 at 4, 9 at 7, and a metre at 50 grams from surface. So there's a lot of room to move here. Nice results, and all close to surface. The obvious thing to do here is come in, put a hole underneath that, and let's see what sits in here or in here. So that's our next step. Good structural orientation, that's the Fairview trend. Fairview North is well off the page up the north there, but this northwest trend also cross-cutting, really favourable environment. That's our drill hole. These are rock chip locations, and lo and behold, right in front of the drill, 25 grams from surface in a rock chip, continuing gold anomalous for another 400 metres into that paddock. I'm just walking in there, picking up rocks off surface. A lot of felsic intrusive material in here, so as I say, it's got that intrusive related flavour, and whilst I don't put it in announcements, we've got arsenic and antimony anomalism down in these rock chips, another 600 metres further down from our drill hole, and so we know that the system continues there, and very little in the way of drilling in that area. So this is one of the rock chips we've taken. It's clearly, really had a lot of sulfide in it. You can see the sulfurous look to it. It's got a lot of holes where the pyrite was. It's been washed away. We're waiting for assays on that, but that looks really exciting in terms of well mineralized material. And this is the big target. I've only got 2 minutes. I'll rush through this, but it's a very exciting target located up in this area. I'd pointed out the 2 holes in the donut. That's these 2 holes in the magnetics. We've come through, we flew gravity, and we've got 2 gravity highs corresponding with the magnetic lows. As a geologist, I have to admit, I do not know what those gravity highs represent, but you can draw the conclusion that gravity high, mag low, it's interesting. So we did air core drilling through 50 metres of basalt here, so we're the first people to drill this, we're the first people to have a look at these rocks. And lo and behold, we get some really anomalous numbers. This is what we call a carbonate base metal precious metal system. So you're looking for specific carbonates, you're looking for the base metal anomalism, and the gold is associated. So we see lead zinc silver here. Hole 115 got 4 metres at 2 grams, 2 metres at 4 grams, but it's got that association of silver, lead, zinc. That's what we're looking for in these precious hosted systems. So we put one single diamond hole underneath that best gold result just to see what it looks like. I don't know why that's moved. It's a big system, 2 kilometres between those 2 drill holes. And when you look at the spacing between all of our drill holes, each of those drill holes is spaced 400 metres. So you've got 3 football fields between every drill hole. So we're talking scale. So we put a diamond hole in here. It's not that particularly important that we didn't exactly get a massive intercept in gold, because what we're seeing is 37 metres at 0.1. It's anomalous. We got a metre at 2, but it's the style of system that it is. And it's important because you need to see, as I say, the right carbonates, the right sphalerite color, because lower temperature sphalerite is paler, and you want to see low temperature sulfides. So we've got all of those pointing to that Goldilocks gold zone. And just to wrap that concept up, this is Kidston, 5 million ounce deposit. This is the breccia pipe here, the margins. The guts of it's not mineralized. It's just sheeted veins at the outsides that are mineralized. And so that's what we're looking for. If you drilled in the middle here, which is effectively where we've drilled, you won't see much of anything. So what do we want to do? We want to do some IP. That'll guide some drilling. We'll do the drilling. It's our current spacing. This is Kidston is 400 by 400. We'll infill that 200 by 200. We'll get a couple of hits in what we think is the mineralized zones, and then we'll come in with a diamond drill rig and drill underneath it. So this is our program. I run out of time. It's drill intensive. We've got Fairview South, Fairview North, and S41 in quick succession, 9-month program that's it's really drill intensive and a lot of news flow. So thank you very much. And just one other thing is that we are going into a trading halt tomorrow to raise some capital. If you're interested, speak to Peak Asset Management or contact the company on info@stavely.com.au. Thank you.